We're here at the National Security Action Summit talking with former Congressman Pete Hoekstra, who is now with the Investigative Project for Journalism. Doing a lot of good work there. Obviously, been familiar with them. Steve Emerson and the guys have been doing tremendous work for a long time on the threats facing us. It seems pretty straightforward. It's radical Islam. But who specifically? I mean, we just heard about a new group, Khorasan. Are you a fan of the Khorasan group? Is this a legitimate group, or was this something ginned up by the Obama administration?
Well, actually, I think the problem that we've gotten into over the last number of years is that we've broken it up into groups. We have Al-Qaeda, core Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, now the Khorasan group. And I think we need to look at this as more of a monolithic movement, a more monolithic threat, because every time we think we've gotten tapped one down, something else pops up because, as the president has said, you know, Al-Qaeda's on the run, giving America the impression that it's over.
Right.
We've been successful. We've defeated the threat, and we're at a point now where the threat is probably as significant, if not greater, than any time since 2001.
Well, all right, you said something that I really like. We like to talk about differences between these groups as if they matter, as if the name they give themselves right now changes their core affiliation, which is radical Islam. If they are Islamic extremists, we shouldn't care.
That's where I'm at. We shouldn't care. They have a lot more in common than what differentiates them. In most cases, when we try to differentiate the groups, they are differences with little or no meaning.
So, okay, then how do we legitimately, using Congress, who's not yet involved particularly in this, I thought one of the reasons the Khorasan group was named was to allow them to use the AUMF as air cover for their airstrikes. Is there any value in a broader congressional authorization that targets anybody flying the black flag?
Probably. I mean, I think Congress needs to get involved. Congress needs to be more actively involved in creating the parameters under which the president can act, and also perhaps that with this president, nudging him to when he should be acting and being more aggressive. This president is being pulled kicking and screaming into a war that he doesn't want to call a war, confronting a threat that he doesn't really believe exists, and it goes to the core at who this president is and what he came into office. He believed that the problem with radical Islam was America, the way that we behaved and what we stood for, and in reality, as he embraced moderate jihadists, and as he changed America's behavior, what he experienced was not a change in behavior by the radical Islamists, but what he experienced was these people took advantage of the lull in America confronting them to strengthen, to reorganize, and to better equip themselves to attack the West.
It goes back to the strong horse. They no longer see us as a strong horse because he made it our policy to be the weak horse. He's going to end the wars. He's going to pull us back, and we're no longer going to actively confront anything until the polls get so bad that he's forced into action, and thus far the actions have been as little as possible. Do you think, like you said, can Congress nudge him to actually take action? Say they declare war. If Congress declares war, can they actually get him to the point where he may take his commander-in-chief role more seriously?
The bottom line is, well, I think he takes his commander-in-chief role seriously.
Okay.
I just think he's misadministering it. And I don't think that you can't force him to go somewhere where he doesn't want him to go. He's a commander-in-chief, and they have that title for a reason. Yep. I don't agree with his foreign policy. I think he's putting us at greater risk. We are weaker today internationally than what we were 12, 14 years ago, and that's not going to change, I believe, with this president. This president has so eroded our credibility around the world that it's going to be much more difficult for us to get people meaningfully involved in confronting this threat.
So we got to wait him out? I mean, if Congress at least takes action, it's in the public eye, and then potentially we can turn the 2016 race into something where we get a president into play who's willing to take the actions necessary to fight our enemies?
I mean, take a look at what's happened. We almost lost Egypt when the president embraced with the Muslim Brotherhood. We have lost Libya. And the media is giving him a pass. We've taken a huge geographic territory in northern Africa. We've made it a playground for jihadists, And there's no discussion about that. We lost Iraq. We created an environment where ISIS, ISIL could come in and grab, you know, they've captured Tikrit. They have captured Mosul. These are cities of, you know, I think Mosul is 500,000 people. They're in, you know, they've carved out a geographic area, and the media has given this president a pass. Congress has given this president a pass. And even with those kinds of failures on his record, he is still not willing to act. And so I do believe that, you know, what's happening around the world, what may happen in the United States, and what radical jihadists will do over the next 2.5 years will move foreign policy to the forefront of perhaps even the elections in 2014, but most certainly the elections in 2016.
That's good news, because we need a change, and hopefully we can get a candidate into play who we can elect and get to act. Thank you, former Congressman Hoekstra.
Great, thank you.
Pleasure.